guys, welcome to Real French Food. We're doing a little bit of a twist on more of an American dish. So we're going to make this salmon chili with a whole bunch of different ingredients. We've got black beans, we've got corn, we've got peppers, onions, and some really awesome seasonings. Not to mention we have our salmon, super healthy omega-3s. You need to have that in your life, so we're gonna throw that in here too. We're gonna start by chopping up our pepper. I have a little bit of peppers and onions already cut up here, but I wanna show you how to chop this up. So we're gonna take a nice blade, we're gonna turn our pepper on its side, and I'm just going to slice off the top of the pepper. So this leaves us with the inside of our pepper. I'm gonna take my blade and I'm gonna just slice up the edges, and then we'll put our knife down and we'll take out the center of the pepper. So you're left with just about nothing. I'm going to chop this right in half. And if you have a few seeds left over, don't worry about getting those out. They'll add more flavor to it. They'll cook along with the rest of your dish. I'm just going to chop up some slices of my pepper, and then I'm going to take these pieces, and using this part of your blade, you're going to chop up and dice the rest of these peppers. And just in a fluid motion, slow if you need to, you don't have to be fast. Always keep your fingers curled and you'll be safe. And then we have chopped up green pepper. So we're gonna add all of this to our chili. And the great thing about this dish is all you have to do is add it to the same pot. Now, a method that you could use to get started if you really want some nice seared peppers and onions is to put a little bit of olive oil, maybe about no more than a tablespoonful, and actually saute this before you put anything in. I don't really think you need to do that because we're going to let this dish sit long enough that your peppers and onions are going to cook thoroughly, so you won't have to worry about it. So to this we'll add our black beans and our corn. We probably have about a half cup of each. Feel free to go ahead and use more. We'll just throw it right into our pot. So the next ingredient we'll need for our chili are fresh tomatoes. Feel free to use a can of diced tomatoes if you want to make it easier, but fresh tomatoes are always best. And you have all this nice juicy liquid from your tomatoes that will help liquefy and make a really nice chili. So we're just going to do some slices. And as you can see, it's a little bit difficult for me to cut my tomato on the wobbly side. So to make it safe for you, flip it on a flat edge and continue to chop. We're using a serrated blade. It helps to cut through the skin of the tomato much easier. And then we'll just try to dice as best we can. We want relatively small pieces. Since there is a lot of moisture in a tomato, they will shrink up as they cook. So you don't want them to be too tiny, but at the same time, you really want a nice chunk of tomato. You don't want to lose those things when we make our chili. So I'm just going to finish up with our tomato. I have about a half a tomato here. I think I'm probably going to, let's add a little bit more. I love tomatoes, so I'm going to add another half. Let's chop this guy up, flat edge. We'll lose the top of our tomato, and we'll slice it up. And the pieces don't have to be the same size. Trust me, I have never been able to make evenly cut pieces. Don't fret about it at home. It's all good. All right. So once we have our tomato all cut up, we'll go ahead and we'll put this in our bowl with the rest of the chili. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit. It's always good to clean as you go. Really good tip, because then it'll make it a lot easier for you when you're done. I'm going to take a little bit of lime juice. I have about a tablespoon. I'm going to add lime juice to my pot. Let's do about a tablespoon and a half. All right. And then I have a tablespoon of chili powder. I'm going to add that right into my dish. Half a tablespoon of cumin. Add that right in there. And then let's take a good teaspoon of our salt and pepper blend. And the reason why we don't want to put too much of that salt and pepper blend is because we're going to add stock to this. If you want to make it extra flavorful and chicken stock is okay for you, let's use chicken stock. If you want to use veggie stock, that's okay too. You'll make it 100% vegetarian if you do it that way. I like to use bouillon cubes. You can use a already mixed made chicken stock. If you have homemade, that's probably even better. So I'm just going to have one of my bouillon cubes and then 4 cups of water. We're just gonna add that right into our dish. A lot of this liquid is going to cook down and cook out of your chili, especially all of your ingredients that are already in there. They're really going to soak everything up, and then the moisture will just release. So I'm gonna put this on my stove on about medium-high heat, and I'm gonna leave it there probably a good hour, if not more. All of the ingredients are really gonna soften. It's gonna be a really awesome chili. Okay, so while that gets started, let's talk about our salmon. I actually already prepared a piece of salmon here, but this is a really great time for you to go ahead and prepare your piece of salmon. All you need is just a little, probably 3-ounce, 4-ounce piece. You can roast it or you can sear it. If you roast it, just a cookie sheet lined with foil and just your salmon, a little bit of seasoning, salt and pepper, cover that up, throw it in your oven, 350, 10 minutes, you've got a good piece of salmon cooked for you. If you want to sear it, a little bit of olive oil in your frying pan, and then we'll just put the raw piece of salmon, both sides, probably 2 to 3 minutes each side. If you want it more cooked, probably 5 to 7 minutes. But my piece is already done. I've roasted it here. I'm going to take my skin, I'm just going to peel it off. It should come off easily. If you find that it does not, you can definitely take your knife and just slice the salmon right off. It'll just make it easier to cut the salmon up when we go ahead and put it in our chili. And this piece is already chilled, so I can handle it. And I'm just going to cut pretty large chunks so that I have a really nice big old chunk of salmon in my chili. It's really such the best fish for you, especially if you cook it the right way. You'll have such nutritious value coming from this. So once this is all finished, we'll put this to one side, we'll let our chili cook, and at this point, pour yourself a glass of wine if you want, hang out for a little bit, and dinner will be ready in just a few minutes. So here we have our awesome chili. It's all good to go. I'm gonna top it with my salmon. Really nice, fresh. My piece is a little rare there. I love it more on the rare side. Some fresh cilantro as a little garnish. And you have a delicious, healthy recipe. À votre santé.